I think the priority for the next Labour Party leader has to be first to bring the Labour Party back to being more attractive to Middle England if we're going to win a majority, and secondly, to make sure that Labour has a more business-friendly attitude and perception. I think that with these two things together, it would be possible to rebuild a majority for Labour in 2020. But if these aren't done, it won't happen. Well, I think the Labour Party has got a big mountain to climb, not least because of the boundary changes which are likely to take place before then, which will make it even more important that Labour has a big swing if it's going to become the majority party. Although if you look at the difference between what happened in 1992 and 1997, where there was an enormous swing to the Labour Party, it shows it can be done. But I think to achieve this, what Labour is going to have to do is to appeal much more widely to Middle England and to have a much more business-orientated policy stance. And that's going to be a big change, and one which all the leaders who are potentially there at the moment are going to have to address. And in their different ways, I think they're all aware of this. I think whichever candidate for the Labour leadership is successful, one of the major issues that's going to have to be confronted over the next year or two is going to be how the Labour Party responds to the renegotiations with the European Union which are taking place, and then what's going to happen in the referendum. And my own personal view is that Labour ought to have been pushing much harder for really substantial changes. I don't think most people in the Labour Party really want to have a United States of Europe. They don't want to see us paying in the very substantial sums of money in debt across the exchanges we do every year, about £11.5 billion. They would like to see some changes made to the way immigration is handled. They would like to see our own Parliament rather than Brussels dealing with a lot of social and political legislation. And I think that it would be possible to negotiate a different settlement, really, with Britain more in an associate status perhaps than as a full member if everybody else wants to move towards the United States of Europe. But of course there are wider issues than just the referendum to be considered. And one of the most important of these is that the Labour Party does develop economic strategies which appeal to the public, which are credible, which are likely to work. I think one of the reasons why Labour didn't do as well as it might have done in the elections just gone past is that Labour was weak on the economy. People didn't really believe that Labour had the answers. And I think if we go into the 2020 election without credible economic policies, that will really hold us back.